Good.
I could just like yap and yap and yap.
Good.
We're gonna go.
He's not. He's gonna have a lot to listen to.
All right, that is it. We are here. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's it
Goodness
going?
gracious. Let's see. We've got some new cameras going on here. Hello, hello. We are here with Angelo Fierro.
How's it going, guys?
Good, good. Good to
Welcome.
see you.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
We're very happy to have you here. For everyone else, it is Monday, February 26th, 2018. We have had an adventurous weekend we want to talk about. Hello, Mrs. Ryan. How are
Hi.
you?
So much better.
This is exciting. So we
Love
figured
to
we'd
get
just talk about our weekend for a couple seconds here and then get into more talk with Mr. Fierro.
Let's do it. So what happened this weekend?
Well, what did we do this weekend, Mrs. Ryan?
We had a bunch of car stuff. We had that. We had a breakfast club on Friday, which someday you'll get to, I'm sure.
That's the Newcomb's Ranch every Friday morning.
That's the one where you always. What's the guy you're looking for? The one
Jack.
guy.
We used to.
Jack.
We were looking for Jack.
He didn't show up a couple of weeks, and everybody was like a little bit like bent out of shape about that. You know.
It turned out he's just too darn busy at his shop, Scientific Automotive in Pasadena, to ever make the actual breakfast club. It would have to be a holiday or something for him. He's like you. He's working constantly all the time. But that's Jack at Scientific.
The city's our playground. You know.
Totally. So that was Friday morning, was the playground up there. And then I forget the chronology, but I know Saturday
we had Pelican Parts on
Saturday
morning, and after that, Hunziker open house,
Yes.
which was a lot of fun. And
so excited for my shirts.
I know, you got some new shirts.
I got 2 new
Hold on,
T-shirts.
is
It was
this
a really big
Hunziker,
deal.
or is there a sticker next to?
There is a Hunziker. It's just a sticker on there
there's a
because it's on
sticker,
the
okay.
car as well. He's a
Okay.
fantastic designer, an artist, spectacular artist. And then I think we just, we made a little video. Do you want to just roll that?
Yeah.
All right, let's
Let me
do
see.
that. All right. And we're working with some things here, so let's see how it goes. More to come. Goodness, old Tonight Show. And let's see. We'll just take a look up there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sweet. Oh, cool.
Everything I need is here and now. Look at how the colors dance around. I could give it all away for free, and it wouldn't even matter. 'Cause all I need is love, 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 love. Come and let it rescue me, 'cause all I need is love, 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 love. I want the sunshine on my skin. I got myself packed in a suitcase.
Hi, Mrs. Ryan.
I want
Hello.
my spirit lifted high. I wanna live amongst the stars. Everything I need is here and now. Look at how the colors dance around. I could give it all away for free, and it wouldn't even matter. 'Cause all I need is don't want anything but come and let it rescue me, 'cause all I need is don't need anything but come and let it rescue me, 'cause all I need is everything I need is here and now. Look at how the colors dance around. I could give it all away for free, and it wouldn't even matter. 'Cause all I need is
Oh,
videos are
there
so
you
cute.
They
go.
really are, man.
Oh, you guys.
And they're cut so well. You know, it just
Thank you,
gives a
iPhone.
little
He
detail.
knows what's
and
up, man.
He really does, man. You have an incredible eye. You
I found the
really
right
do.
one.
You know, I'll turn that down. I'm learning all this stuff. My dad was a commercial photographer. That's what he did for a living. So, you know, he bought me a Kodak disc camera when I was a kid, and he taught me how to take pictures, and then we got a better camera and stuff like that. So, whatever I do know, it came from that.
Well, it's rubbed off.
Thanks,
It
brother.
really has.
Thank you. And are you okay with that video, Mrs.
I
Ryan?
love that video.
Oh, good. All right.
Hey,
All
just
right.
one quick question.
Yeah.
Because I've never done a podcast before.
Sure.
Like, if I have to burp or something like that, like, you know, if I hold it in, like, will you still hear it? You
Well,
know?
you're going to see it. I mean,
okay.
it's as much as
Oh, right.
it's as much
Oh, here
as
we go.
as
There we
you
go. Okay.
do or don't want to.
Gotcha.
So, however you'd like to be represented.
I do
If
it
you
all
want-
the time, and I just go like this.
Oh, it's one of those, like...
You have to kind of own that you're going to look like this, but
Okay.
you're not throwing up on camera.
I thought immediately it was like, wow, bathroom break 5 minutes in. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
How the hell are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's so good to see you guys.
It's so good to
It's
see
like,
you.
It's been so long, and I've been like, we got to do this, we got to do this. We can't. We keep missing each other and everything. So it's really good to be
I'd
here.
like to go on record and say I'm the worst person at setting up plans with multiple people, so I'm going to own that one.
I don't know, but that
I miss you.
your last email was like, we got to do this, and I was like, you know what? She's totally right. We got to do this. And then Jay Ryan reached out on Instagram, and
Oh, good.
and it happened. It happened.
Great.
Yeah.
So your email was the catalyst.
Oh, good.
All right.
See?
I'll take it.
I love you guys.
But it's great. It's great to be here, and
I was going to say
And
what most
see-
people don't know is you are our realtor, and you are the reason we have this home and this home studio and all of this stuff. We literally wouldn't be here without you.
You changed our life.
Yeah,
I'd
seriously.
like to just say that too.
Yeah, that's no
No
joke.
sap, no
It's
bullshit.
no joke. Yeah, I mean,
So
tough time, dark time a while ago, and
I
without
remember,
the help,
man. I remember that
Without-
conversation in Venice. I was kind of like, you know, sitting with you guys, and when I left, I was just like,
it was a broken time.
something's got to happen here. Like, we got to make this happen. We got to do something. We got to get you guys into something that's gonna, you know, kind of make things right, or at least better.
and it
You
did.
know.
Can't really begin to describe. Yeah,
No, I'm really
so
glad. And
Great,
now that I've
grateful.
now that I've stepped into this place, I mean, I cannot believe what you guys have done with it.
He's transformed it, right? I mean, it was really just like a
Completely.
bunch of white
This
walls.
was just like a regular nice apartment building, you know, and
Yeah.
a nice kind of, you know, Mediterranean contemporary space.
And that's the
And
people
you
are
guys
surprised
have,
when
like,
they walk in.
Brought this great mid-century sort of twist to it and design. I mean, if Serena sees this place, she's gonna want you to design our place.
Cool.
Yeah, she's gonna be like,
I'm for
"Please,
hire."
Come design our place.
I hope so.
You know, you guys might as well just come over and give your 2 cents, because
Happy
it'll be
to.
worth something. You know.
Can't wait.
Oh, that means the world to us. Yeah, it was just kind of a white box, which we were so thrilled and grateful to be moving into.
I would have set up shop in that corner so happily.
Yeah.
Did not give a shit.
At the time, this was just primarily a writing room for you. This was
Yeah.
going to be the dining room / writing studio for you.
I sat with my notebook right there every day, like tried like shit to eke out anything, and I was like, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of creative
Oh, it's-
energy in
yeah.
this nook.
We
You know?
we've gone. Yeah, I then goal achieved, and thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm
Definitely.
feeling it.
Yeah.
I felt it right when I walked in.
Thanks,
Okay.
man. That was sort of our goal, you know, with having, you know, the reason we moved here specifically over other places was it had the room to be a live workspace, which, you know, was important to us just with our given situation. So the fact that other people come in and other creative people that we like and admire come in and say things like you're saying, it means the world to me. Like, I know I said that already, but I'm trying to be emphatic about it because it does. It's a big deal.
Point noted.
What is going on with you? You just bought a home. You just moved to a different place.
We just bought a place in Encino.
Just got a dog.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
like,
just got a dog for Izzy, our little one, our 8-year-old going on 19. And you know, everything's been really, really good. You know, jumping on your, gratitude bandwagon. Really grateful that, 2017 was a great year and 2018 is looking really good. And
Well, you're one of the, I should say, you're one of the hardest, not just one of the hardest realtors that working realtors that I know, but one of the hardest working people. You're one of the best work ethics is what I'm trying to say of anybody I've ever met. You're constantly going, and when I think you should be sleeping, you're posting something about some other thing you're doing, and it's charitable, and it's something else. So you're just always going. And what I'm trying to get to here is, when I look at your daughter, I see all of that. I see everything that you are drilling into her, and it's just the best values and ethics. And I just want to give you like a praise of hug from here. You know
Thanks,
what I mean?
Man, thanks.
I just, if I'm ever a father one day, you're definitely a model I would like to emulate.
Thanks, man. Yeah, she's the best. Izzy's the best. And Serena, mom, is a badass mom.
She's a badass lady.
She's a
Yeah,
badass
in general.
lady. Yeah,
She's really helped.
Educator.
She's an educator for sure, but just her persona.
and she's getting her doctorate now.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, she just decided to throw one more thing into the.
You guys aren't busy enough, man.
Yeah, I know. It's like let's go get a doctorate now
In
too.
what?
And she's
Where?
kicking
Yeah,
ass.
and where?
In education at USC.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
her.
Way to go, baby.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
All right, so we're gonna have to line her up here, get her booked.
I know. Get an educator's perspective.
Was that another house sold? Is that what that sound was?
Ding. Me? Or was it? Am I ringing?
No, I don't. It could be any one
It's
of them.
just constantly. It's so funny,
It must be.
But yeah, it is. It's what makes it exciting. I think a lot of agents get into the business to, especially now, thinking that they're going to make $1 million their first year.
Is that not how it works?
And sometimes it happens. And way to go
Yeah.
to those, whether it's guys and gals that's making that happen. Way to go. But most of the time, you got to really hustle. And we make a promise to our clients, and one of them is that we're going to hustle. We're going to look out for them. We're going to, we're out there. Our eyes and ears are out there. We're, constantly thinking of them and what they're looking for and what their needs are and what they want home to be. And
You said it before, checking all the boxes for everybody.
right.
But in an emotional way. I feel like you take the emotions of the situation into consideration
I
versus
totally
just
do.
the factual, intellectual, dry on
Totally
paper
do.
property. So like checking boxes is great, but you have a broader, I feel like, understanding of like
I totally
on the
do.
corner, not because it's on the corner, but because of the safety it allows. And so if something's malleable in that, I feel like you see that, and a lot of people don't always.
Well, one of the things that I said from the beginning is once you get into real estate, and it happened with me 15 years ago, it's like, oh, another realtor, because the entry to real estate's pretty easy, and
Versus another 4-year degree type thing.
right, exactly, and one of the things that I set out to kind of differentiate myself from the pack was, wasn't going to rush people, number one, and that I would really listen to, what they need, because I saw right off the bat that it's emotional.
Yeah, it's a support industry in a way.
It's a big, we're, from the beginning to the close and way after.
Yeah.
It's constantly kind of being there to help them out, whether it's with service providers or, going to the house and helping them, figure out improvements or remodeling and stuff like that. And when bad things happen, if there's fires, if there's floods, things, helping them kind of not only prepare for it, but organize in the event of anything. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
But I
We
feel like you
haven't
bring
had
it to people's attention. You bring awareness to potential situations, and that's all people want. They don't want to be told where to go, what to do, why they need something. Like, you've brought everything to their attention. Now it's your decision, and that's I think what most people want.
Sometimes though, I'll bust out with the I'll walk into a house, and I'll call clients and be like, "Okay, guys, I'm in this house. We're writing an offer on this house."
Because
And they'll-
because
I'll
is that
just
because you know
right,
them
I
so
just
well,
know,
you know your clients.
I just know them.
Sure.
And sometimes they'll be like, "Well, what do you mean? We haven't even seen it yet." I'm like, "No. If you don't want to
Trust
write,
me.
if you don't want to write on this house, you just don't want real
Right.
estate.
I'm putting
you
my
know?
reputation on it.
Yeah, totally. And the few times that I've done it, it's
worked out.
it's totally worked out, and they're still in their homes and been in them for probably going on 10 years now, and it's really just great to see them make the homes their own and watch their families grow and make the memories and be part of those memories. It's really special.
Can we talk about how you got into or why you got into real estate or what you did before real estate?
Yeah, totally.
Because I find that stuff fascinating about you too. I feel like the person I know was already formed long before I knew, and all of the pieces are fucking fascinating.
Oh, thanks, man, thanks. Oh, you're making me blush.
No. You're one of our favorite people for a lot of reasons, but
I know what you mean. I have felt that too. Like you have all these applicable pieces that would go to other areas, and the way you've amalgamated them to make a human who you are is so rad.
Thanks.
I love hearing about it.
specifically, I meant like the acting stuff. And
Well, well, you know what? I don't know if you guys know this, but I was licensed in Boston.
oh no, I didn't.
Yeah,
I
so
did
when
not
I was
know
at
that.
BU, my uncle who lives in the North End, and he's a real estate investor, he was always like, you should get licensed, you should get licensed, you should get licensed. And my junior year,
Just because why not, right?
Yeah, because why not? Because that's what everybody says to people before they get into real estate. Just get licensed. And I got licensed in Boston, and it was my junior year in college. And my junior and senior year, I rented out places, probably sold maybe one or two places.
Sure.
And it was a great kind of in the Back Bay on Newbury Street in Boston, drive around, rent some places, make some money. It was really kind of cool. And but back then there was no like mentorship programs or anything, so it was tough to kind of find your way.
Okay.
And then right after I graduated, right before I graduated, I got the acting bug. I kind of started getting more in touch with like a more artistic side of myself.
Was that just because? I mean, because BU's got a great program for
Well, they have a great comp
communications,
program.
for acting, for all sorts
my
of
best friend,
arts.
Rob Bobo.
Rob Ortiz?
Rob Ortiz.
Rob
What's up,
Ortiz.
Rob?
Shout out to Rob Ortiz.
So he was in comm, and he was in comm for directing, for film.
Sure.
And he always did these really cool short films that I was in a couple of them. And Karen Smiley, shout out to Smiley.
Would that be Aunt Karen?
That would be Aunt Karen.
Aunt
Smiley.
Karen. Nicole's Aunt Karen.
She did.
We love her too.
She did a
Thank
couple
you.
of shorts too that I was in.
She did? Like as an
yeah.
actress?
Not as an actress, that she sort of created and directed.
Okay.
And I was the actor.
Okay.
So it really started getting me kind of, I liked it. I had a lot of fun. And doing it with them and being in that creative process with them was just fun for me at that time.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about theater. And when I graduated BU, I told my parents that I wanted to go to the William Esper studio in New York City.
Step it up.
And they were like, oh, they're like,
You sure you're into this?
yeah,
You're going to really do this? It's not a whim?
So I wound up going to the William Esper studio, which was both an awesome and humbling experience, because there were some phenomenal actors in my it was a 2-year program, but in both classes there were some phenomenal actors in that class, and it was really a time for
Anybody
me.
we know?
Tony Hale.
No kidding.
Yeah.
From Arrested
The Veep
Development
guy?
and
Yeah.
Veep and everything
he
else.
was in my second year.
No kidding.
And everybody just knew, like this. I don't know if Tony will ever hear this, but everybody just knew, like, Tony's gonna. And he was dedicated. He was a hardcore.
It's like houses, though. It's like when you find, like you were saying, like when you know that
Yep.
this is the house for you. Like,
Right.
You know that guy's going to be killer.
You can
And
feel it.
everybody knew it,
Yeah.
at that time, and it was great, kind of being in that space. And maybe I don't know if that's why I went towards acting, but it was really a great way to kind of get to know myself, especially at that time. I was like, what am I going to do? I was kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
And so did 2 years there, and did a bunch of theater in New York, did some commercials. Always auditioned for like The Sopranos and stuff, but never really. And Law and Order. You know, just like any New York actor should. If you're not auditioning for that stuff in New York, just like
You're never gonna get anything else.
They just don't do it. You know.
That's so fun. I could see you on The Sopranos. I mean, we love The Sopranos. Love The Sopranos.
That
Everybody
was
else.
a phenomenal show. You know?
Probably. I mean, top 5 for sure, if not the fucking top 3. But I could so see you on The Sopranos. I mean, in my mind, I feel like I've seen you on The Sopranos.
Sheila Jaffe was the casting agent.
Yeah.
And she always used to say to me when I used to go, and she was like, "You're too young. You're too young." At that time, she was like, "You're too young. You got time. You got time." But
yeah, that was 20 years ago, right? The Sopranos.
Yeah, it was about 20 years ago. Totally.
I think she did Entourage. She's
very relevant. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, she's one of the biggest in the biz. I'm trying to think for you when you say like, oh, I was young and everything, and I'm forgetting 20 years ago. Holy shit. In my mind, like, oh, Sopranos just went off the air.
And then a buddy of mine,
Don't stop.
A buddy of mine, Marco Siega, was another friend of ours, and him and his wife, Lisa Mush, a.k.a. Mush.
Okay.
Who's Aunt Smiley's, really good friend from growing up from Westchester, and also friends with Serena.
Oh, no kidding.
So they got married out here.
Wait, did Serena grow up in Westchester too?
Yeah.
You're kidding?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Totally.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
So we're all in the same area there.
It's all pretty
I'm sure I probably knew that. I guess I forgot.
And we came out here right after September 11th for their wedding. We were some of the only people that actually got on a plane and came out. There were a lot of other people too, but from New York.
No, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
And it was trippy, and it was at Union Station.
Mm.
That's awesome.
And I remember being at Union Station and recognizing, like, I think Terminator was filmed there, and Back to the Future.
It's one of those places that you've seen in a
Blade Runner,
bajillion places, movies.
And I was kind of tripping. The architecture of it, the Spanish kind of mid-century sort of feel of it was really kind of really alluring. And I just turned to Serena. We had a cigarette break outside, and I was just kind of like, "Hey, would you ever move out here?" And she's kind of like, it was like one of those glorious sun, clear sky, gorgeous LA days.
Magic LA moment, right?
Right. That sucks everybody in, know. And she's like, yeah, I would. And so I came out about a year later, and then she came out 8 months after me.
Wow. So you kind of came out early, got set up sort of thing.
Right. So yeah, I had to set up, shop. And I acted my first couple of years out here, probably 2-3 years. Again, a bunch of commercials, and Marcos, got me in on some, Dexter and Underclassmen and
cool
stuff like that, and did an episode of Everybody Hates Chris, which is really cool
with me.
No,
we always get to that point. It's like, well, yeah, you guys probably met.
Would have had to have come right by.
Hold on,
sure.
Were you working on that show?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So what's her name from Fame? Debbie
Allen directed.
Debbie Allen
she directed tons of our
right.
episodes.
So she directed the episode, and I remember like seeing her. We had the first audition, and in the callback, walk into a room, and I'm not kidding. There were like her assistants. There were like 30 black people in the room.
Yep.
And
the room is just an office down a
right,
hallway.
It's just like, right. And I felt so intimidated.
Yep.
And I don't remember what the line was, but I did the line, and the whole room just starts cracking up laughing. And if I could see that audition tape, I know I flinched.
Wow. What's so funny is, I was very good friends with the casting. I mean, gosh, we could have gotten that for you if we knew each other sooner.
And
I'm
so
sure
when
it's long gone now.
and I remember on set, like, seeing her, and I grew up with Fame, and growing up in the Bronx before I moved to Italy, and seeing her and being directed by her was pretty cool. That was
one of the coolest things about working on that show was all of the faces that I grew up watching coming through the office.
Totally.
Like everybody from Good Times, Raj was on the freaking show from What's Happening. Yeah, very, very cool stuff.
So and then I kind of just started coming down to feeling like I love the idea of acting more than acting itself.
That's common tale, right?
And I was in the restaurant business too. And I remember the restaurant I was working at, he was kind of like, I love cooking and I love food and, you know, I love, you know.
I'd call you a gourmet chef, brother.
You would?
Yeah.
So, you know, I love cooking, but I didn't want to be in the restaurant business. You know,
The business of anything creative that you've talked about.
Yeah,
is,
it was always
seems to be what gets you and turns you
right.
off
It was
the
always
part.
it was always kind of like a meditation.
Like you need a partner or something.
Yeah.
So
Meditation?
cooking is kind
Yeah.
of a meditation. Like
I think a
always
lot of
kinda-
people feel that.
It was kind of like a nice kind of way to get centered. I loved cooking for friends and family. You know, I mean, in the restaurant business, you see people are always kind of complaining and this and that.
Yeah.
And that's when we were kind of getting into the, you know, everybody's starting to take pictures of their food
Nope.
and posting it everywhere, you know. And so I was just kind of like, you know, I love the idea of cooking for friends and family and sort of as a meditative process for me. And then real estate called me, you know. It was just kind of like, you know, it called me back.
Well, you moved to the
Yeah.
right place for it, that's for sure.
And that's, and
I mean,
and I'm glad you brought that up.
Having that skill set and then moving here, it's not to call it a no-brainer, but man.
Well, yeah, you're totally right, because at that time, you know, I realized that I didn't know a lot of people here. We had like a select group of friends, but we didn't know a lot of people.
Sure.
But anywhere I went, there was like 3 or 4 conversations, and it was like gas prices, traffic, at the time the business, and real estate. Like that's all people talked about.
All they talk about.
And I remember when I first got licensed and trying to figure out how to get clients, you know, I would go to like Starbucks and Coffee Beans. And anybody that would be reading the real estate section, because you still read the newspaper then, 15 years ago.
This is kind of what I'm talking about, his assertiveness, though.
You know, you still read that then.
So that's their tell that lets you know
I
that
would
they're
go,
into
I
it.
would go up to them.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, hey, you know, what's going on in the market today? You know, what's the hot property? And we would start talking real estate, and then it would get to, hey, you know, you looking to buy or sell anything? And grant, I never got a client from it, but it did teach me how to approach people and get a conversation started. And a lot of what we do is talking to people, you know, and making connections. And, you know, like for you guys, for example, when I came and spoke to you guys and you guys told me what the issue was, and then I saw this, you know, it's making that connection that I feel like people just looking on Redfin and Zillow, and I love all of those sites, Trulia and Realtor.com. I love them all. They're very helpful to us. You just sometimes can't get on your own. You know, it's kind of like that one person that's looking objectively for you makes those connections, you know, and
It's nice to see that that's what you're attracted to about the business versus, yo, I got my new Mercedes ballin'. You know what I mean? Which is some of the guys, that's all, it's just, another $10 million property, cha-ching, you know.
My first years I was selling on a Vespa.
I love that. This
have
is
a
my
Vespa.
point. That you should still be doing that. I love that.
It's one
And I
of
still have the
greatest
Vespa, which,
things.
by the way, Marco Siega, my buddy, gave to me.
Come on.
Yeah. He, like, you know, had car problems, and he was like, hey, you know, he knows
That's
he had another
awesome.
Vespa, and I still have it, and it's one that I won't let go of, because
Do you
it's
still
kinda-
ride it?
We need to get it serviced.
Yeah, okay.
But now that I have the BMW too, the F800 GS, you know, I ride that one more because it's a little bit more, you know, fun.
Sure.
And but I sold a ton of stuff on the Vespa and on the BMW.
I love it.
You know, and I
Do
would,
people think that's cool when their realtor rolls up and pulls his helmet off with his suit and the whole bit? I mean,
some people like were really kind of. It was a great icebreaker. You know, especially if I hadn't met them yet, because the expectation is someone showing up in a Porsche,
sure.
you know, or in a Mercedes. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Range Rover, whatever.
Totally. And I would show up on this Vespa, and it's a beautiful, you know, metallic silver, an ET 150. It has like a great leather bag case in the back.
See, I would have that
You know?
all. I'm sure it's all patinaed up perfectly. I would
Yep,
just have
it was-
that. Have somebody stencil on your logo and whatever, and that would be my thing. Because every time that's parked out front of a property, it's got your little thing on it, and you know what I'm saying?
Can you do that?
What do you mean? I can tell you what it should look like.
Can you tell me what it's going to look like? Let's
Sure.
get somebody to do it. I'll totally do it.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, that could be your thing. Not that
He's-
you need a thing.
Yeah. But it says something different about you.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone getting into something, pardon me, of the significance of where you're going to live.
Right.
That is a big component of your personality, to be able to be that ballsy, to just be like, I'm on a Vespa,
Yeah, man.
man.
At the end of the day, like the guys.
Guess what? I'm the only realtor in town who's on time.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would say I'm on time. I'm
Yeah.
before you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and it really was that, you know, and I would go from Venice, Palisades, Silver Lake, Los Feliz, you know, Larchmont Village, Hancock Park, into Beverly Grove. I mean, I would go everywhere.
The city was accessible to you.
Yeah, it totally was. And
It's like the Casey Neistat of realty.
yeah, everybody was always like, oh, how can you get cross town on that? I'm like, it's so easy. I mean,
You just stay moving the whole time.
yeah,
That's why you're confused.
Right. I mean, it's the whole city's a parking lot. It was then, and it still is now in worse ways. And
You talk like a creative, which is what you've definitely like jumped on board with, which is so. It's funny to hear you guys talk as if it's just normal. It's not normal. Like the business people that are like in a boxy car sitting in the parking lot that is the 405 are like, this is normal. And you two are like, no, feel the flow of the energy of whatever is happening and go to that apartment, go to that condo, go to that house, be there first. And you'll see different shit on the way, which allows you to have different conversations with them.
on the be there first, I got this really good story, this great real estate story that I had these two clients, Sebastian and Alexis. They were adorable people, adorable family, and you know, we were looking around for houses, and you know, there was always like something that looked good but wasn't enough, and there wasn't enough room for their two girls, and it wasn't like the style. They loved the sort of the mid-century ranch too. And one night, Serena and I went out and got, you know, sloshed. You know, like and in the morning, I get an alert on this property that comes up in Studio City, and I kind of roll over in my bed, and I'm like, kind of pick up the phone, and I look at it, and I see the house, and it's like, the first thing I thought about, I was like, Sebastian and Alexis. I'm like, I got to get to this house. You know, this is going to be. It's going to be a shit show. Like, I'm like, this is the house. You know. So,
But this is one of those stories where you knew.
which I just totally knew,
Yeah.
you know, and I was so hungover. I was still reeking tequila. I was like, I cannot get on the bike, on the Vespa, or in the car.
Right.
Because if I get pulled over, I'm
Oh, yeah.
reeking. Like,
Yeah.
even if I shower and mouthwash and,
Yeah.
and floss and everything, I'm reeking, you
Yeah.
know? One burp and I'm like, I'm in jail.
Yeah.
And
This guy may not have come from a bar, but he's clearly got a problem.
so I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, you know, I'm going to Uber.
Yeah.
I Uber.
That's
It's
great.
the only option,
I
right?
Uber to the Brokers Open. And I get to the Brokers Open, and there's a line of agents outside the house. So I knew the listing agent, Eric Lieberman. Big shout out to Eric. He's amazing. He's a great guy, great agent. And I'm like, you know, Eric, what's going on here? Why can't we, you know, Brokers Open is usually 11 to 2 on Tuesday. He's like, well, there's tenants in the house, and they're very upset that the owner is selling, and they have a lot of sort of valuables of their own. So they're requesting that one agent at a time go into the house, which they need to escort through the whole house. And I'm like, oh my God.
Because of their collectibles or whatever, they don't trust.
They don't trust,
Got
right.
it. Right.
So 60% of the agents that were in line just left. They're like, we're not going to wait here.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, I'm hungover. My Uber left. I'm here. Okay, so
Yeah.
you just tell me when you're ready for me.
Yeah.
And,
I got my
we'll be
phone. I can
going
wait
in.
all day.
Right, you know? So I'm like the 10th agent that goes through, and the tenants are hovering on me. Like one's over one shoulder and one's over another shoulder, as if I'm going to take their 400-pound statue and like just put it in my, you know, in my jacket.
I was going to ask you what the
and
actual.
walk out. They were all like statues and
Okay.
paper. There was some cool stuff.
I'm
you know
sure
what I
stuff
mean?
was valuable, but not stuff you were looking to add to your collection.
Well, listen, it was valuable to them.
That's what
You know
I'm
what
saying.
I mean?
Sure.
So, but I wasn't going to take it.
Right,
So,
I'm just painting a picture for anyone else.
yeah, totally. And they were over my shoulder, and I stopped, and I turned around. I'm like, yo, guys, I get that you want to kind of walk me through the house, but you don't need to hover over my shoulder, and I'm kind of saying this for you because I am like so hungover right now. Like, if you breathe in all the tequila that I drank last night, you're gonna get wasted. Okay?
Yeah,
So,
it's making me uncomfortable because I know I reek.
so I just give me some space. And we went through it, and they wound up buying that house and remodeling it, and they're in it. So yes, it's kind of knowing the timing, being there, doing it, And I appreciate other agents who, like yesterday, I have multiple offers on one of my listings, and yesterday, an agent went to the open house, found out that we have multiple offers, and he and his client came to find me at another listing of mine that I was holding open to kind of, hey, listen, we want to get in on this.
Wow.
So, I appreciate that. It just kind of, it speaks to, the heart, to the commitment, and
shows the tenacity.
And the tenacity,
Yeah.
I like that. So, it's something that I that's what I love. When we moved out here, one of my favorite things to do was just, first 8 months out here, I didn't work. All I did was drive around.
Learn the lay of the land.
Learn the lay of land. And I made a bunch of wrong left turns and got lost. And, my college roommate, CJ, Mr. Robertson, he's from Glendora, and he gave me a present that I still have.
Tom's guy.
And it's my Thomas
Yeah.
guy.
No way.
Yeah.
What year?
That was 2003.
Oh, okay.
And I was driving around with that in my lap, in my Ford Escort with leopard colored cover seating, which I called my little cream puff. And I got around the whole city with that, and it was a great way to get intimate, with LA. And then Bobo, who I was house sitting for, at the time, Rob Ortiz. He came for a weekend, I think, and I was driving him around, and he's like, "Dude, the city,
You could be a tour guide all of a sudden.
So he named me Los Angelo, and that's where I got my Los Angelo nickname.
Los Angelo Living, right?
Los Angelo Living.
That's awesome.
Los Angelo Properties.
Gosh.
And it kind of all came together. It was cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. Well, you mentioned your motorcycles before.
Yep.
You spent some time up in the canyons as well from time to time.
LA, I think one of the things that kept me here, it was the Vespa first, and then my dream bike was always the F800 GS.
Mm-hmm.
So after
That's the Beamer, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and after one of a big sale, I just looked it up and I just went for it, and I went and got it, And between the Vespa and the GS, it's kind of two other little toys that in a lot of ways I feel like keep us here.
Absolutely.
Because LA's
They
got,
keep you sane.
LA's got the best curves, and on women and on the landscape too, and it really keeps it's so centering and wonderful to ride those canyons.
Where do you go? Where do you like to go?
I go to Canaan.
Yeah.
We go down to the Rock Store, of course.
Sure.
I love
Down the Snake.
I love doing the Snake. I love doing that strip. And then every now and then, I'll meet a motorcyclist that'll just be like, hey, test out my bike,
Awesome.
And that's always fun to kind of just take that one strip on somebody else's bike.
Sure.
And kind of kind of meld with the bike and get used to it or get intimate with it. And
There's some serious hardware up there too.
Oh,
it's
God,
not
man. It's insane.
yeah,
man.
they're not just KTM's.
It's insane.
There's all sorts of stuff.
I love going up the coast, up to Ventura County line.
Mm-hmm.
I always the PCH is just always
It's just so pretty.
It's just hypnotizes me every time.
Are you into the more severe turns of Angeles Crest or anything like that? Because that's
I'm not,
more of a
because,
commitment.
Yeah, I'm not into that just because I try to keep it. I'm a mellow rider.
Yeah.
I got into a near fatal accident when I was a kid, and I got back on bikes when I moved out here to LA with the Vespa.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So wait, you got in an East Coast accident when you were a kid?
No, not East Coast, in Greece.
Okay.
When I was 17.
That's different. That's different. Y'all have like weird non-laws there.
All right then.
I was 17. It was my first vacation away with a buddy, and we were drunk and we rented motorcycles, and that's the last thing I remember.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it was really bad. I was in a coma.
Good grief.
Shit.
All right, so then the
So
Vespa,
I try to
came...
keep it like, I like the touring. That's why I love the GS. I love the touring. I can go off road with it. I don't.
It's more of an enduro, right? You could really kind of go anywhere.
Right.
Okay.
When I have knobbies on it, I'll go, more I'll go off road on more rugged terrains. Yeah. And that's kind of there's a couple, right off of Malibu Canyon up there, and
really.
Yeah, there's the one right before you get to the turn for the rock store. There's a little kind of off-road spot there.
Cool.
I just try to keep it mellow.
Good for you for still doing it though. I used to. I think I've told you I used to have a motorcycle in LA, and I sold it after seeing too many sheets on the freeway. I just got.
When I see
just
them,
didn't have
man,
the,
when I
the
see
confidence.
them, I'm like, it kills me. It like hurts.
Yeah.
I'm always like, damn, I got to say, sometimes, when you see them going, in between the double yellow and they're going like 60, or they're popping a wheelie, I'm kind of like, come on, man. It's kind of like when I was a kid, wasted drunk on a motorcycle with shorts and a tank top and no helmet.
Flip-flops.
And flip-flops.
Shifting gears with flip-flops.
It's suicidal. I'm sorry. It's totally suicidal.
Yeah, you're testing the limits for sure.
Yeah, totally, And, I love just the fun of it. I love being kind of out in the open.
Yeah.
Now, we're selling way more houses every year, anywhere between, 20 and 30.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so I can't really be on the bike all the time. I have to be in the car because the car, is now my de facto office,
right?
My default office.
Well, until the Vespa setup is going.
I know. We got to do that. We got to do the Vespa
I'm just
setup.
picturing that, with a flag next to it parked out front of a property.
You know what? You've totally inspired me. We're souping up the Vespa.
Yeah.
I'm totally
I think it would look cool.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah, it would look cool. And, you keep it old looking and everything so that it's got the patina and the Italian, so it wears it well.
Yep. No, I'm totally on board on that.
I think it's so cool. That's awesome. You haven't seen us in a while. You have any questions for us now that you're warmed up in the podcast thing?
Totally. Well, first of all, guys, this is like my dream to be on a podcast.
You said that when you walked in today.
I'm not joking.
How is that so?
I listen to podcasts like all day, every day. I barely watch TV. Sometimes movies, but movies have been kind of falling short these days too.
Yeah.
And with podcasts, I feel like it's kind of, we're returning to the teleplay and the voice and the conversations. And I love it. And you get ideas and you get inspired. And it's great hearing like all people, real stories,
Yeah.
For me, it's bringing back the old late night talk show, the old format of where they were just sitting having conversations, just talking about whatever, and somebody would walk in and somebody would, it didn't matter, and it wasn't overproduced, and just it seems like podcasts are the new that.
Like I would say, it seems like when you put on the microphone, the headphones, and in front of the microphone, and kind of all the wires in the setup. Which, by the way, this setup is incredible. But it would feel, seeing it might feel like, not personal, but it's kind of just like we're in a, Nicole's got her legs crossed,
This is a chill. This is totally a safe place, right?
It's totally chill,
That was the goal, was to make an environment that was just real talk. You know what I mean? You're comfortable, and nobody feels like they're being hammered, and yet nobody feels like it's not really a comfortable place to let my hair down.
Now, was this kind of like when you walked into the place? Did you envision it right away, or was it sort of like you were here for a little bit before?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I had the ideas and everything is roughly where it was, but I tweak shit like crazy. Like nothing's perfect. I'll tweak it until every little detail that I see is, to my liking or whatever.
That's a never-ending process.
Yeah.
Like the lights were on last night.
I could tell like there's like the perfect amount of spacing between frames.
Oh, sure. Sure. Yeah. That's just how it is. What else would you do?
Just a little OCD, just a little,
He's got a good eye. Like it's there was a it's just, always look your best so that you're not distracting to what you're saying.
Right.
So that's, I feel like you've personalized the room to accommodate that saying.
You know what? I've never thought of it that way, but that's a really good way to put it, because that's the truth. If I'm looking around seeing things that I could fix or make better, then I'm not focusing on the content. You know what I mean? Like for whatever reason, my brain can't let go. Like, oh, well, that could be better, and that could be better. I'm just constantly. That's why I like the 911. It's a constant evolution.
It's so nice.
You know what I mean? They don't rip it apart and start from scratch. They always keep it. You know, they start from this and then they go to the next thing. That's sort of what it is. I think most designers are that way too, with the layers, different layers.
Well, I would say I think you're a designer at heart, definitely. I mean, this place just looks absolutely impeccable. You know?
Thanks, man. Like I said, we didn't pick up for you.
If the
Sorry.
owner walked into this place, he would just be like, I want you here forever. You know?
Yeah?
I mean, yeah, baby, because, listen, to own these properties is, to know that there's somebody in it. And I think I told him that, when I was like, listen, these people are going to, they're going to take care of this place and they're going to look out for your,
investment.
For your investment, and, that's a big thing, because you'd be surprised how many people just don't give a flying fuck.
Really? I don't have that in me. I don't get it.
I mean, walk into some places and they're disaster zones. It's disgusting.
Yeah. They're usually the ones that I feel like aren't like you, though, that like it's not about longevity. It's not about long term. It's just like, I need a place to live now. Great. Bye. I'm out in 6 months. Like, it's hard to care about. It's harder to put the care and the energy into a situation like that.
Yeah, no, totally. In part, yes, but in part also, some people just don't care.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not a...
It's the whole looking out for you or looking out for the whole greater good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I say this in traffic all the time. Anytime ever in traffic, we're always kind of just, the car's pretty happy and pretty identifiable, so we have to sort of be, you can't be a dick all the time in the same neighborhood, you know what I'm saying?
So you get recognized, the 111.
That's what I'm saying. This fucking
there
asshole.
goes the
Look at this fucking
111
guy.
there.
Exactly. But no, anytime we're getting in I'm just trying to think of a merge. We're like, all right, buddy, come on in. It's the greater good. We're all moving better because I'm not fucking being a dick, and because you're not. And then when the one guy is a dick, and we all have to slow down, I just always tell her, I'm like, all right, greater good. Hashtag greater good.
When I remember when I moved out here, driving around was. It was the New York driver, like
same here.
Fingers,
Yep.
and
Energy, aggression.
Get really close to people,
Not only that, I fucking drove in New York.
And
Get out of my way.
Right, and I got right, exactly. So like that, I'm entitled to.
For sure. Yeah. We bring it. We bring it.
Part the rivers,
We bring it. Absolutely.
And I gotta say, like here, I've kind of. I've become a nicer driver in a way. I'm like thanking in the rearview mirror, which I probably don't even see, but like, oh, thanks for letting me in. Like, thanks for letting me in.
That's a long way.
It does.
But it does go a long way, because, man, that car aggroness and that could stay with you for a while. And I got into some accidents, and I could honestly say that it was because I was just pissed and aggro,
Really?
And you just lose all kind of sense of safety and
So what's your secret for that? How did you turn it around? Because we all have that a little bit, and if there's any kind of advice, and I'd love to share it. Yeah,
yoga, meditation. I discovered that in New York, like my last year or so in New York, but out here I've been doing it pretty regularly.
Good for you. We're big believers in both yoga, meditation, stretching in general, all of it.
Yeah, no, it's
the meditation's huge. Just being mindful.
I wish I knew about it when I was a kid. Izzy like does it with us.
That's rad.
Do you do TM or
no? Not TM. Just meditation, just
just
guided
mindful.
meditation. Sure. Kind of like the one that's like on the Headspace app.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great app. I don't.
A lot of them are on YouTube too, right? You just play them on YouTube.
Yep. There's a guy who does a Kundalini meditation on YouTube, and
that is correct.
And I listen. Right. Ding. And I listen to him.
Kundalini is huge.
Kundalini is great. So I used to go to Golden Bridge when it was in Hollywood.
Okay.
And now it's in Santa Monica. And when we were living in West Hollywood, I would go to the Golden Bridge. They had a 4:30 in the morning meditation.
Whoa. So it's like a sunrise.
Sunrise, hour and a half.
Nice.
And at the end of that hour and a half, I would
can't even imagine.
pass out in Savasana. I mean, snoring. And they would wake me up at like 6 o'clock. Like, hey, listen, you got to get out of here, you know? And that was the best way to start the day.
I'm just thinking, having all that shit in line with the sun and everything coming out, that must be very, very
and then
cool.
at Golden Bridge, Gurmukh and the other yogis there, when they meditate, and it's a lot of chanting, I'm not kidding, like their voices move walls. I mean, that's how powerful.
All vibrations, man.
That's how powerful their
I
voices
love
are.
hearing about that.
Yeah, I mean, like their voices like go through your body, you know? And my favorite part was like the gong.
Yeah, I was going to see you're
bowls,
saying all this stuff. Do you believe in
and
vibrational healing and things
totally
like that?
do.
I do too.
Totally do.
We do too.
Totally do. My grandmother, my Nonna Antonietta, she was, we always say, where I grew up in Italy, in this small city called Benevento. Now we moved there when I was 15, and Benevento is the city of witches. It's a small city, 45 minutes outside of Naples.
Okay.
And our grandmother was a witch, you know, and she used to do things like this to us. You know, when we were not feeling well, she had these chants and these kind of little, how would you say, like prayers, you know, like like if we had a bad headache, she had this prayer and this chant, and then she would kind of take, she would curl the front part of your hair in her finger and yank.
Ow.
Yes.
Ow.
And it went away.
Yeah, because you're distracted. I fully believe in everything that she was doing. But that's what you do with a kid when you're like, make cookies, like go stir the sugar. Like, I've got other stuff to do. Like, ow. Ow.
And so I believe I believe in that stuff. I mean, I came into, we always loved it because
I mean, there are energy chakras that come right out of the crown there,
Right.
so or right out of your forehead there. So it would sort of, I mean, if someone were believing that they're clearing that out, it's like cleaning a gutter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So all of a sudden, if that's
I get the logic, but ow. It's
So,
very
yeah, I
sensitive
for
believe
place
sure,
in my
Al,
head.
but I'm just trying to think of the whole thing behind it and what it could be and all. It's pretty fascinating.
And the like, the healing qualities of like vibrations and energy like that, like I totally believe in it, because even when I moved out here, like I was always really, like to think at least I was a fun person to be around, but I was pretty aggro, you know. And
Was that because there was something you didn't have figured out inside? Like, what was the reason?
I don't know.
You
I
don't
was
strike
just-
me
I
as a
was-
particularly rebellious fella.
I was
Just-
aggro. I always got into fights. And,
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out why. Like, you had something going on inside that you couldn't reconcile or something. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I mean, is that that the case?
I don't know. I think I was still, fighting like, my anger from like moving from New York to Italy when I was 15, with my dad and my mom. Those are always, to this day, I still feel like we're still working through some things from that, from that time, and
Plus the coma.
like, so there were definitely a lot of traumas.
That's a lot of
along
shit.
the
Yeah,
way.
that's what I was gonna say. Trauma.
And coming out here and doing the yoga and kind of being in a place where just the weather doesn't allow you to kind of sit in your house and be depressed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like I function better
Interesting.
in this atmosphere.
Interesting.
I don't know what they call it, but there's actually, I guess, some
There
kind
is something medical about
Medical say
that,
that
and
they're-
I could not. I still don't know the name of it, but it's that same like je ne sais quoi. Of, like I couldn't explain to people. Right after 9/11 happened, I was out here and I had just taken the flight from Boston that ended up being the flight from Boston, like 2 days prior to it being flight. But a lot of my friends from upstate, wherever I knew them from back east, were like, well, now you must want to come home. And I was like, no, there's something about LA. Like, I really need to be out here.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't feel the same back there. So whatever that medical thing is, there's because like seasonal affective disorder, it's not
Yes.
that, but
No,
it's
but I
like
think
in
I
that
think
family
it's
of like
something
it
like that,
affects your
totally.
juju of like
totally.
sun shines out or it's constantly potentially going to rain. It affects your mindset.
Because what's
So
really
wild.
crazy is when I was a kid in the Bronx, I raced BMX, and I always kind of wanted to come out to LA.
Really?
And my parents, I was like, can I just go race BMX in LA? And of course, my parents were like, no,
Yeah.
that's not happening.
We're going to drag you to Italy instead.
Right, totally.
Italy's no problem.
So I kind of always had this thing that I wanted to, come out to LA, and we did on vacation, stuff like that. And then when I went to BU, in BU, I kind of gravitated to buddies from New York, Rob and other friends of
Rob
ours,
Ortiz.
Rob Ortiz, Bobo, and our friend Fernando and Frank, and all of my buddies, my best friends from college, and loved them dearly. But one of the things that I kind of hopped on at BU was this LA hating, and I kind of did it just to kind of, be part of the group, And then when I came out here, these two friends of mine from BU, these two girls, Jana and Debbie, I stayed at their houses when I came out here to LA, and stayed in Encino. And I was kind of like, what have I been hating all along?
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I couldn't define it then, and it kind of went back, same thing, same LA hating, attitude. In New York City, same thing. And when we came out here for Marcos and Lisa's wedding, it hit me. I was kind of like, you know what? I've been the victim of a bandwagon effect. That's just, that there was no reason besides just belonging.
But I love that you saw that.
And willing to admit it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
totally.
Because
Totally. I tell people, and I tell clients, I'm like, listen, I was a full-fledged LA hater.
but most people don't want to admit they're wrong.
And
You know what I mean? Good for
and
you.
now the fates have fucked with me so bad that my nickname's Los Angelo.
Yeah. Not even your nickname, your business.
So I can't even root for the Yankees anymore without my friends being like, well, all right, you're
Los Angelo.
You don't root for the Yankees?
Los Angelo from the Bronx,
That is the best thing ever.
So it just adds on to that identity crisis between do we go to Italy or do we stay here, where are we going? But it was cool to kind of realize that I think we came to LA when I think I came to LA when Serena came to, when I remember when I moved out here, people were like, I was setting up shop for Serena. So she would come once every month and a half, and she was a teacher in the West Village.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was really important to make sure she got set up in a good school and a good area. So every time she came out, I was like, bring your portfolio, and I would introduce her to principals and stuff, and
Right.
Beverly Hills, Pacific Palisades, the best schools,
Top tier.
the best public schools.
Because you have such respect for her and
Right,
admiration.
totally.
It's really beautiful.
And every principal would be like, great to meet you, but we don't make the decision. So, there's really, there's nothing we could do.
It comes down through the Board of Ed, I'm assuming.
Right.
Yeah.
It comes down through LAUSD. And then when Curtis called, and I was very happy, especially when I saw the school, that would be her home, and or for work at least. And so what I was saying was, I was every time she came out, I would be really practical with setting it up in a way where it would get her to like LA.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want her to come out here.
Little Los Angeles manipulation.
Right, and
Sure.
totally. Totally. I don't want her to
Of course.
be in some school in the middle of nowhere where she has to
No.
deal with traffic and stuff like that, or be in a place that she doesn't like.
You're trying to do it right.
And I don't want to be like, where'd you bring me and stuff like that. And people would be like, dude, they're like, LA is such a single city, it's such a city.
Is that true?
where- I
It's
guess
the
at the time
perception.
it was, or at least
Yeah.
that was the perception, and I was kind of at the time. I
You know,
was
and
like,
in our 20s too. Yeah, I guess so. The age.
I was in my 30s.
Okay.
Okay, and the one thing LA kind of brought that I really love it for is it brought me in touch with my own solitude. Because in New York I always felt I had to be out and about and be part of the action.
Interesting.
And in
Part of the chase.
and in being getting intimate with my own solitude, it kind of brought me to that place where I was ready just to kind of not get serious, but just to kind of change the way I was, and it was really special, not only connecting with Serena on that level, making the move cross country, and it was a big move at the time, but it was great to really connect with our friends out here who we connected with in one way in college or New York, but out here it was on a whole different level.
And people are different too, you know.
You know, it was like families were starting, and you know, we were just kind of, you know, going into that next phase of our lives, you know.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was really cool to do that, and I found LA at that time.
That's an awesome LA story.
Yeah.
That's what LA was for me, you know, and I apologize to it for hating it, you know.
I think LA has forgiven you based on business and just the look on your face. I would say that you and LA have made good.
You clearly still love it.
Okay,
That's what it's
I
all,
love it.
I think
My
that's
mom
what
and
LA
my
is
parents
about.
in Italy, they're like, so Angelo, let me ask you a question. So you don't want to come back into Italy, you know? And I'm like, nah, not unless you tell me it's 80 degrees every day, you know?
See, this is what happens every time at the hour mark. People start to loosen up, and they're like, "Okay, so I got this now. And okay, I can do voices and get into the mic." And you said this was your dream, and I hope that you do start a podcast. Know that this space is open to you, at least maybe till you get started or whatever. Just
I
come
will
back.
totally take you up on it. I've been wanting to do a podcast about like going deep in real estate.
Yeah,
Like
you should.
Like praising and giving the, you know, it's so, you know, with $1 Million Listing and all these shows and stuff, and us, you know, I always feel like realtors are narcissistic in many ways, and in that we, you know, we love to get the credit for it, and I understand that a part of it is it's so hard because it's so competitive to get that sale, to get that listing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really challenging. That when it happens, it's like you know, you feel like Hulk. You know, you feel like, you know, you feel so great. You know, and you want that credit, and we get it, and we do get that credit whether we promote it ourselves or other people promote it for us, or clients refer us and things like that, and that's great. But there's so many people behind the scenes that don't get credit. You know, the geologists, the inspectors, the chimney guys, the sewer guys, you know, who go into the underbelly.
Hey, Ruffy boy.
You know, totally, you know. and I would love to, you know, designers.
Yeah.
Artists, art dealers, you know, art stagers.
Yeah, it's a big
who make houses, you know, like if you were to sell this place, you know, looking the way you guys have made it look, it would sell for way more than it otherwise would if it were empty.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people that really go into making it happen, and I feel like they never really get the credit. It comes from the realtors that will call them and be like, hey, good job on that, and all that, because we're managing.
Seems like the most you could hope for is like more business almost. You know what I mean? Like that's
right.
Like that's like maybe the ultimate compliment.
Right, exactly.
Would be referrals.
Yeah, totally. So the people that we always refer out, and it's the same thing for us. I mean, you know, we're really grateful for the referrals that we get, and it's all about the referrals at the end of the day. Because if you're not getting referrals,
more business. Yeah.
You're, you know, the one sale is not the be all end all, and to interview the people that, you know, that I call the unsung heroes of real estate, and I would love to, you know, do a podcast with them. And
all you need is a name. You have a space.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, cool.
You've got the personality.
And I'm your first listener. I would love to hear the behind the scenes.
Same here. It
It
sounds
would be
interesting.
really interesting
yeah, I mean,
to hear
I love it.
them.
I mean, Serena makes fun of me. I love like the sewer videos.
I'm just
you
saying.
know? And they're
great.
great to watch. Some sewers, like the clean ones.
You're killing me. You're losing listeners immediately.
I would swim in it. You know? But then the ones that are displaced and cracked and there's root intrusion and, you know, they're old and like backed up and there's toilet paper on the
So that's
you know,
how you
the
judge
roots.
a place.
Yeah, I mean, like all of these are all really important parts of the process that I kind of just feel like, you know, in this time of like instant gratification and having everything in the palm of our hands, I don't want to say all people don't, but a lot of people, at least off the bid, so to say, don't really recognize, you know, right away. And, you know, LA is a huge city. It's a city that has multiple climate zones. It has a city that has several geological makeups. And every home, every neighborhood, every place is completely different and requires certain inspections.
Yeah.
And requires,
You've sold me. You've sold
know,
me. get a name, come back here,
right.
and we'll have a
All right.
guest and the whole bit. I'm serious.
I've been totally like
I want to.
totally visualizing this. I'm like, but I can't put this together.
You don't have
You
to
know?
do this part. This part's
Already done.
All right.
And then eventually you could just do it with a freaking iPhone out in the field. But just to get you going, you know what I mean? We'll just start. That'd be the least we could do. I'd love to help you with
We're
that.
we're gonna do it. I want to
Cool.
call it going deep.
Good.
Going deep. In
And then
real
you can
estate.
come back here anytime too.
Okay.
Because there's still tons of stuff to talk about. But, you know, it's been over an hour, for God's sake.
Has it been over an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
For
It
real.
goes so quick.
Isn't that funny?
This is so cool. I could just sit
You're
here with
having
you guys
fun.
for
That's
like
awesome.
hours.
I hope you will.
All right, Mrs. Ryan, I love you so
Love
much.
you.
Tomorrow we've got Michael Dolphin,
good.
Porsche, expert and music expert. And he's really just an all-around awesome
Rad
guy.
human.
Yeah, rad human for sure. Until then, thank you for coming. We love you.
You rule.
For real, we love you.
Love you.
Mrs. Ryan, love you.
Love you.
And for everybody else, talk to you soon.
Peace out.
See you tomorrow.
Like do this. I mean, the setup, everything. It's just amazing.